Chapter 110. Retreating from the whole body. Gu Hai, I've heard Mo Yika talk about you many times, a true hero. Great Empress Shu said in a gloomy tone. Great Empress Shu has praised me too much. I can hear that Great Empress Shu wants this God's sealing list. Now, we're behind bars, so I won't say more. I can return the God's sealing list to you intact, but I need us to be safe, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Oh, Great Emperor Shu's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked towards Gu Hai. Cough, cough, cough. Gu Hai let out a cough. Enduring his injuries, he looked at Great Emperor Shu. I don't know what you want these 5 million Divine Blood Army corpses for, and I don't want to know. The way this group of people behind you are looking at us, they can't eat us alive. It's obvious that they don't want to make good with us. Gu Hai is brazen enough to use this divine seal list in exchange for peace for me and others. Emperor Shu, is that good? Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Great Emperor Shu stared at Gu Hai for a while. Your Majesty, there was a burst of anxiety from Bat Ancestor, King Shikong, and the others. However, Great Emperor Shu ignored them and looked at Gu Hai's weak eyes, not far away. After a moment of silence, he nodded. Good. King Shikong and Bat Ancestor burst with anxiety, but when Great Emperor Shu opened his mouth, no one dared to say anything. Many thanks, Great Emperor Shu, Gu Hai nodded. However, you won't live for long. You can't afford to suffer from the ice essence entering your body. Right now, your 5 organs and 6 bowels are tearing apart, right? Great Emperor Shu said in a deep voice. Gu Hai frowned slightly. What, brother-in-law, how are you? Long when you immediately said anxiously. Ice essence. It's supposed to be a treasure, but, Gu Hai, you're only at the Yuanying realm, you can't afford it at all, and it's still such a big piece. Yi Divine Needle looked at Gu Hai, and there was also a pang of pity in his eyes, obviously also feeling that Gu Hai was finished. Your Majesty, I have a way to help you. Bingji bit her lips and lowered her head. Help. Ha, melting ice essence. Only the first blood of the Ji family in the south, using the secret method of the Ji family, can help you melt it. How could she, a girl from the Sun God Palace, have it? Not far away, Bat Ancestor instantly said in disbelief. Oh, Bat Ancestor. That confident. Gu Hai, however, coldly looked at Bat Ancestor. The Bat Ancestor's eyes showed hatred as he looked towards Bingji. Humph. The Ji family and the Sun God Palace have a worldly grudge. If Bingji is related to the Ji family, how could she possibly live in the Sun God Palace? Humph, stinky girl, you're overthinking it, aren't you? Gu Hai looked towards Bingji. Bingji lowered her head and didn't say anything, but Gu Hai took a deep breath and turned his head towards Emperor Shu. Emperor Shu, I don't need you to bother. Before Great Emperor Shu could say anything, Bat Ancestor once again said in a cold voice, Humph, His Majesty would bother for you. The ice essence entered your body and tore all your orifices. Now, even with the Ji family's secret method, you can't be saved unless you reincarnate and go for a remastery right away. Gu Hai ignored Bat Ancestor, but looked towards Great Emperor Shu. Great Emperor Shu, Ice Mountain or Ice Essence. I know that Dayuan is bound to get it, but, Great Emperor Shu, you just promised to let us leave. Naturally, a gentleman does not have any jokes. If I, Gu Hai, perish, you guys will come to fetch the Ice Essence at any time. If I, Gu Hai, live, I hope that you guys don't act rashly. And don't let the words of a gentleman become jokes, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. You. The Bat Ancestor's eyes instantly glared. Great Emperor Shu's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked towards Gu Hai. Good. Gu Hai nodded. But then his face turned solemn as he suddenly shouted out, Li Shenji, Divine Martial King, please also come out and send County Princess when you back. Cough, cough, cough. Gu Hai's voice immediately spread out, perhaps not very loud, but Li Shenji in the city, and Long Shenwu outside the city all heard. The two were silent for a while. I know you are here. Now, there is an opportunity for County Lord Wenyu to leave. If you let it go, in the coming day before the great Qian sage, you can't absolve yourselves of the blame, Gu Hai said in a cold voice. Boom. Outside the city. The divine martial king's figure swayed towards the city. In the city, Li Shenji's face stiffened for a moment, and he also flew up into the sky. Who are you? It didn't take long for the duo to arrive close by. Li Shenji, if it weren't for you, that volume of the sacred Tao book scripture wouldn't have been seized by the great brightness king god. The Bat ancestor's eyes glared, and he was about to strike. Stop. Great Emperor Shu spoke coldly, instantly stopping the Bat ancestor. The Bat ancestor's face stiffened, but he didn't dare to make another move. Gu Hai, however, had his eyelids fluttering furiously. Great Emperor Shu cared so much about these corpses. These corpses, what use are they? Mr. Gu, so capable. The Divine Martial King stared at Gu Hai and said in a deep voice, Divine Martial King, I'll trouble you all to escort when you away. Cough, cough, cough. Gu Hai coughed for a while. That's natural. His Holiness will remember you. Just, what about you? The Divine Martial King nodded. Me. I'll leave when you guys are gone. Gu Hai shook his head. The Divine Martial King nodded, but on the side, Li Shenji's eyebrows furiously jumped as he looked at Gu Hai in surprise. Brother-in-law, you're not leaving. Why aren't you leaving? Long Wenyu instantly exclaimed. The Emperor pinched the God's sealing list, so that you can leave peacefully, Bing Ji explained. God's sealing list. This. You find someone else to pinch it. Won't that be enough? Brother-in-law, you come with us. Long Wenyu immediately said, anxiously. Gu Hai faintly laughed bitterly for a while, and turned his head to look at Great Emperor Shu. Although Great Emperor Shu looked loose, but Gu Hai understood that his whole body must be taught, seal God ranking for someone else to take. No, as long as he was a little bit lax, Great Emperor Shu could instantly kill himself and take away the God sealing list. Therefore, the God sealer list simply can't leave his hand. Obey, go quickly, ye divine needle, protect when you go. Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Ye divine needle stood up with great difficulty and looked deeply at Gu Hai, followed by a solemn salute. Mr. Gu, please accept a bow from divine needle. Brother-in-law, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm going with you, Long Wenyu suddenly cried. Cough, cough, cough. Gu Hai coughed for a while, and there was more frost on his body. His body was so weak that it was a little difficult to speak. Long Wenyu became more and more anxious and refused to leave. Forgot what I said. Gu Hai stared at Long Wenyu's eyes and died. Uvu, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving, Long Wenyu cried and shouted. Happy, cough, cough, theft. Gu Hai once again spewed out a mouthful of blood. But it was the coldness of the ice essence that was ravaging a group of divine palaces, really wanting to tear them apart in general, and the great fire of the fire god palace, and couldn't impact with all its might. Or else, the collision of ice and fire would create an even bigger explosion, and tear the body even more crazily. The heaven repairing force was mobilized out in a single stroke, mending the wounds, and only then could Gu Hai hold on. Happy, not far away Bat ancestor, King Shikong, Li Shenji, and King Shenwu all had a facial twitch. You're miserable like this and you're still happy. Only Long Wenyu understood. This was the secret signal between her brother-in-law and herself. Brother-in-law, Long Wenyu was inwardly saddened beyond measure. Happy, Gu Hai called out in trembling. I'll go, Ubu. Wow. Long Wenyu cried in grief. I'm troubling you all. Gu Hai looked at the crowd. The Divine Martial King looked at Gu Hai oddly. With Long Wenyu's character, no one could cure her at all, and actually came out with such a nemesis as Gu Hai. Don't worry, Divine Martial King nodded. Cough, cough, cough. Gu Hai looked at Long Wenyu with a burst of coughing as he endured the cold air raging in his body. Who are you? Li Shenji immediately took out the flying boat. Long Wenyu looked at Gu Hai step by step with a sad face, hating that she couldn't help her brother-in-law with anything. Li Shenji, Long Shenwu, Yi Divine Needle, and Long Wenyu got into the flying boat. Li Shenji immediately drove the flying boat and flew away. You guys, King Shikong and Bat Ancestor immediately looked anxious. However, it was not good to stop them when Great Empress Shu had ordered them. That was Long Wenyu R. Using her could make the Great Chen Sage throw his weight around R. Let her go. But Empress Shu cares more about the God's sealing list than Long Wenyu. Gu Hai also saw that Great Emperor Shu was persistent. His eyelids fluttered furiously. This God's sealing ranking. In the end, what benefits does it have that makes Great Emperor Shu care so much? Your Majesty. Bingji revealed a trace of bitterness. Now, what should be done? Brother dash in dash tilde 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 tilde. Flying far away on the flying boat came the voice of Long Wenyu's sad shout. The flying boat was getting farther and farther away, and at a mountain peak, it picked up Gong Yongsheng and his party, slowly disappearing into the sky. All right, they're gone too. Gu Hai, give me the God sealing list, to me. Great Emperor Shu said in a deep voice. Gu Hai looked at the God sealing list surrounded by great fire in his palm. Revealing a bitter smile, Great Emperor Shu, Gu Hai, in the end, there is one more unkind request. Oh, Great Emperor Shu looked at Gu Hai with cold eyes. Great Emperor Shu's promise is 1,000 in gold. I naturally believe Great Emperor Shu, not long ago. I also counted on the people of Daiwan to do some care. Earlier, it was also me who set up the formation to open the Great Killing Imperial Palace. Whether it's a favor, or whether it's holding a favor for a reward, I only hope that within 10 years, Great Yuan will be able to stop harassing my people. Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Great Emperor Shu frowned slightly. 10 years later, as Great Emperor Shu said, I might have died, and there will be no more worries then. But, within 10 years, I promise to give the people of Da'an a stable and peaceful environment. And I hope that Great Emperor Shu won't harass them, and from your tone, I can hear that it is inevitable that there will be another war between Doyuan and Doqian. And I hope that the flames of Doyuan's war won't spread to the cities and towns of my Da'an. At the very least, before Doqian strikes against my people, Doyuan should not strike. Gu Hai weakly said. Yes, Great Emperor Shu said in a deep voice. Thank you, Great Emperor Shu. Gu Hai nodded. Bingji, these 5 million corpses, leave them to Great Emperor Shu, but I want one to keep as a souvenir. It's that corpse, put it away from me. Cough, cough. Gu Hai pointed at one of the corpses. Oh, the corpse with 3 eyes. The corpse of the Hos clan supreme, Hos 3 eyes. The crowd watched in amazement as Bingji put the corpse of the 3 eyes of Ma into the storage magic treasure. Emperor Shu's face was gloomy, but he didn't move. Help me to the place of the Eastern Undefeated, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Although Bingji was also seriously injured, but, in the end, she was much better than Gu Hai. Supporting Gu Hai, she flew towards the outside of the Great Killing Palace, flying above Metropolis City. Mr. Gu, get well soon. Long live Mr. Gu. Wish Mr. Gu a speedy recovery. Countless people in the city suddenly blessed, a wisp of blessing that seemed to form a wisp of chairs surging towards Gu Hai. Great Emperor Shu followed Gu Hai, all the way to where that underground tunnel was earlier. Great Emperor Shu, the people all over the city heard what you said. I believe that you're a gentleman without words. The God sealing list. I'll give it to you now. Gu Hai let out a loud shout. Who are you? The God sealing tablet was immediately thrown out by Gu Hai. Dongfang Bubo blocked the entrance. Gu Hai let out a loud shout. He brought Bingji to quickly enter the tunnel. "Stop! Where are you running, King Shikong, Bat Ancestor?" And the Chong family's old men rushed forward at once. Boom! Emperor Shu grabbed the God Sealer, unfolded it, and let out a long breath. Ding ding ding! Dongfang Buccaneer instantly swung out a slew of needles and threads, shooting them at the charging Bat Ancestor and the others. Emperor Shu bowed his head and probed his hand. Boom! A white light flashed and all the needles and threads exploded. Dongfang Bufu's face sank as he looked towards Emperor Shu. "Don't chase after them," Great Emperor Shu said in a deep voice. Chun's promise had been made, so Great Emperor Shu naturally would not go back on his word.